Well, genetic genealogy has become a trusted tool to crack cases long thought to be unsolvable. It has led to the capture of serial murderers, and Here at Home was used to recently identify a Jane Doe found dead in Trinity Bellwoods Park back in 2020. For a look now at what could be considered a gift and curse in the form of genetic genealogy is Karen Binder, forensic genealogist at DNA Doe Project, who helped Toronto police crack their cold case. Good morning, Karen. So great of you to join us. So let's start with how DNA Doe Project recently helped Toronto police identify this woman who was found dead at Trinity Bellwoods Park. And this was using genetic genealogy, which is different than just plain old DNA testing, right?
Absolutely. So traditional DNA testing, it requires really close relatives like a parent or child, brother or sister. What we do requires, more distant matches. So we can solve a case using only third or fourth cousins instead of a very direct relative.
All right. And DNA Doe Project is volunteer-based as an organization, and yet you've helped identify victims in some pretty notorious murder cases. For example, the fifth victim in the John Wayne Gacy case, and also this Gary Ridgway killer. You found his youngest victim, 14 years old. Can you talk a bit about all these other cases that DNA Doe Project has assisted with?
Yes, of course. We have volunteers all over the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom, and we've solved over 70 cases thus far, including, as you mentioned, victims of the Green River Killer and John Wayne Gacy. This was our first case working with Toronto police, and we have several other cases in Canada as well.
All right. And Karen, so with genetic genealogy, you basically take a missing person's DNA, such as with the case with Christine.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
Oh, sorry, Karen. I was saying that with genetic genealogy, you take DNA from the person who's deceased. For example, in the case of Christine Jessup, which was a notorious case here in Toronto, they matched the semen on her underwear to find out that it was the neighbor, Calvin Hooper, who killed her. And this was after the original suspect, Guy Paul Morant, was exonerated after, years being locked up in jail. So when you take that DNA and you cross-reference it with what's publicly available, what does that mean? Because I'm trying to understand the difference between databases like Ancestry, 23andMe, and then GEDmatch. What do police have access to?
So police don't have any access to Ancestry DNA or 23andMe because the terms and conditions of those websites don't allow us access to the database. So what we use most commonly is GEDmatch. For example, this Trinity Bellwoods Jane Doe case was solved using only GEDmatch. And then we also have access to Family Tree DNA, which is another consumer DNA testing database.
All right. So if people want to help potential Jane Doe, John Doe cases, should they be uploading their DNA profiles, their family trees to GEDmatch and the other one you mentioned? Where does Ancestry and 23andMe come into play here, or does it come into play at all?
Yes. So anybody that has completed a consumer DNA test, such as Ancestry or 23andMe, can download their results from those websites and then upload into GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA. And that helps us tremendously in solving cases like this one.
And why is it important to find out the identities of these people that have been deemed Jane or John Does? Why is that so important?
We believe that everyone deserves to have their name back. And in many of these cases, the John and Jane Does were people that were reported missing sometimes long ago. And their families are still looking for them and deserve to know what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it brings closure to many families. There's also privacy issues, but we touched a bit on that. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but Karen Binder from DNA Doe Project, really appreciate your time and discussion this morning. Take care.